Mayor Laura Kropp, thank you for being here with us, Ms. Mayor.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, let's begin this evening with how your city's doing, how the virus has impacted your community in the past several months.
Well, like most communities in the area and throughout the world, really, it's really, I would say, upended everything that we know and how we operate within the city and within our businesses. But from that, we've all learned to do business a little differently. Many of our smaller businesses, like our retails, have been using the internet much more than they were, and our restaurants, of course, are anxious to get back to having people within their doors this week. So we're excited about that. But I would say that we've learned one really key lesson, and that's collaboration. And that's within the city. We've learned to move from trying to just rely on city government or businesses to do their own thing, and we kind of have really learned to be a team.
Well, that's encouraging, having to come together in these challenging times.
Yeah.
How about vaccinations? How are they going in your area?
I would say of course, there's much more demand than we have access to vaccinations at this point. So we are working with the county to try and get as many of our qualified residents to be vaccinated as much as possible. From what I've heard, so many of our residents are willing and ready to roll up their sleeves and be vaccinated. So that's really encouraging.
Yes, that's the first step. What about your schools and reopening?
Well, our Mount Clemens Community School District is doing a hybrid kind of situation, and so we have some students who are all completely face-to-face within our parochial systems, and then we also have a hybrid situation. But it's definitely brought up many issues in terms of access to internet. And so our SEMCOG Economic Development Task Force has really taken that on to work with our making sure that our plan addresses that don't of 280,000 households within our 7 counties that this plan covers that don't currently have access to the internet. So they can't do business from home, and they can't do online schooling. And so that's really become a disadvantage for so many households.
So could you use any help from the state and federal government?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We're starting budget season here soon, and that's going to become a real tricky situation because we're not getting reliable necessarily information from the state in terms of what will be revenue sharing, what will be the income coming from our property taxes. Obviously, we don't know how home values will how they'll fare in all of this, and so we're hoping to make sure that we put the city on stable ground, of course, just like all of the communities within our state. But without that kind of information, it's difficult to budget. And so we're asking for, the governor, when she has her budget plan, we're hoping when she reveals that we get swift action from the state legislators, that they will make sure that there's not a whole lot of questions hanging, so that communities can make sure that they have stable footing to plan and execute, so that residents don't feel even more pain with lack of services.
So important, Ms. Mayor. I think we've all been seasoned by this one, and I certainly appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.